I have a question.
Yes.
How old is too old to play video games? I'm asking for a friend.
I don't play video games, but I'm going to say death.
Oh, well then I'm asking for me because I can't stop playing Call of Duty. What does that say about me at 44?
I didn't know it was for you. Grow up. Hello, Joseph.
Fuck you, Ellen.
Can you not say the F word in the first 10 seconds of the podcast? What if this is their first time here and they're like, they curse too much?
Well, then you know what you in for.
Welcome, everyone, to I Think Not, the podcast where we have potty mouths because we weren't raised right and Joey is from the South.
Hi.
I am Ellen Marsh, and who are you, Joey?
I am Paula Cole, and I'm still wondering where all the cowboys have gone.
That's Joey Taranto, and you are listening to I Think Not, the podcast, where Joey and I recap your favorite true crime TV shows by your suggestion. Every month we bring you a new true crime show. We are so happy you are here. You all, our fall quarterly merch boxes are going out. I don't want to spoil it just in case a couple people haven't received them yet, but suffice it to say, they are a lot of fun. Harris, our producer, packed them by hand. If you don't know, we have these fun little boxes as part of our Patreon. Essentially, you get all of your money's worth in cool themed merch, and also you get all of our content. We have Patreon tiers starting at $5, and that gives you 4 bonus episodes. What else can they get, Joey?
You can get access to our close friend stories on Instagram. You can also get access to Swamp Talk, which is our monthly trauma dump. You can also watch us trauma dump live if you'd like. We have quarterly paint parties. We have monthly watch parties. There's so many ways to get involved with the community. And listen, whether you're on the Patreon or not, we're just happy you're here. Hop in our Facebook group and chat with folks. There's a lot going on in the world of true crime right now. Or if you're just looking for to make some friends, it's there too. But if you're interested in more content, you want to hear us squawk it in your ears, head on over to patreon.com/IThinkNot and we'll scream at you.
But if you are here on our general feed, you know that we bring you a new series about every month, but it doesn't always line up month. We do 4 episodes of whatever it is you guys recommend to us. And we have an ongoing list. And if you want to add to that list, feel free and send us a DM, send us a message, or show up at Joey's house. He loves visitors.
Now, I have something to say. 1, don't show up at my house. 2, we cannot cover Florida Man or whatever it's called. In the first 2 minutes, they find a foot. I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. I'm sorry, y'all. I love you so much. I love you to the day I die, but I'm not covering Florida Man.
There you have it. And he has boundaries and he's not afraid to lay them down.
That's something to say.
Oh, no. What?
You know, I know you mentioned Florida right in the beginning of this, and I know that I'm supposed to be an ally as I'm married myself and am a full-blown lesbian now. But I don't care for this homosexual who's been running his mouth talking about Florida. Y'all always make me come back here, and it's Christmas time. I should be in peace. I should be resting in peace like the sweet baby Jesus, but y'all are wrecking my Christmas.
Nobody makes you come anywhere, Bobby Lynn. In fact, we actually prefer when you don't.
Oh, really? And I would prefer that you did squats over a hot frying pan, okay?
Okay. Well, if you're new here, you're probably confused, and I don't blame you. Let's get on to the episode. I'm kind of loving this show, but it is a lot. This is called Web of Lies. You all, and we are covering season 3. This is actually, Joey and I both off mic said, this is a really dark show, but this is actually really important.
I would say so, especially for parents out there. I mean, not even just for parents, for all of us, because I think our case today is dealing with the World Wide Web. And
baby, it's Web of Lies. All of the episodes are going to be on the World Wide Web.
Well, then I was right. But the thing is I think that all of us forget how comfortable we sometimes are in that world. And there is a lot of danger that lies there. You and I were just talking about this. I think that the world has changed so much in the way that we interact with each other and the way that we are suspicious of each other or more aggressive with each other because of the internet. And, before, if you wanted to cuss your friend out, you had to send an owl, and they would fly over to their neck of the woods and pass on the message. Nowadays, you can just get online and say whatever the fuck you want. And sometimes we do that very quickly without realizing how we come across or who we're talking to. It's a crazy world. And then you get into online dating, and it's like, I've gone on a couple dates with a guy that I really like, and I did a full-on background check with him while I was on the phone with him, and he was like, that's so funny that you're doing that. I did it the minute I liked your profile.
Yeah, why not? Of course. Web of Lies Season 3, Episode 2, Lies of a Bittersweet 16.
Did you say Lies of a Bittersweet 16?
Is it just Bittersweet 16?
Yes, the show is Web of Lies, and the title is Web of Bittersweet 16.
Okay.
What happens at your house?
Sir, you just said our show is called Web of Lies, and then you started talking about the internet as if they are, you know what? Do your thing, Rick.
Well,
Whatever.
it is July of 2011, and we are in Van Buren, Arkansas, and we hear about 15-year-old Angie Allen, and she wants what all 15-year-olds want, and that is to run away from their small-ass Christian high school and become an actor on Broadway, which inevitably leads to a homosexual lifestyle.
I'm sorry, babe. Just real quickly before we continue on with the episode, that is not what the show is about, and that's not normal.
That's not what every 15-year-old wants.
That's not. Nor do they dance with mops on their head and pretend to be Judy Garland.
God, let me try this again. And she wants what every 15-year-old wants: to meet their best friend in a Broadway show, start a podcast with them, and slowly outs them by driving them crazy into a mental institution.
That is the one. Welcome. 15-year-old Angie wants a boyfriend. Why? You have your entire life to be disappointed by men.
Let me ask you a question.
Why do you want a boyfriend?
Weren't we all boy crazy at 15?
I wasn't. I really wasn't.
Really?
I liked boys. I had a crush on Franz Lepar, and his slightly uglier twin brother, Andre, liked me, and I liked Franz, and Franz didn't give me the time of day. But I wasn't boy crazy. First of all, my back looked like my front. I was a skinny little, I wanted to do theater. I was such a nerd.
Franz Lepar sounds like a French mustard. Yeah, okay, well, I was boy crazy, and I was convinced that I was in love with my best friend, who was a girl, and that did not work out. And then I moved on to another girl named Stephanie, and her mother told her, I am not paying for a wedding to Joey. And she said, why? And she said, because Joey Taranto is, and she just did a flip of the wrist. And you know what? She was right. So, well, Angie had met her best friend Cheyenne about a year ago, and these two are inseparable, and they love to talk about their crushes. You know, we all did that, and they showed each other pics of cute boys. It's what teenagers do. And Cheyenne says, you know, I really admired Angie. I wished I could be like her, and I love that. I love that in a friendship where it's like, I want to be around people who challenge me to be better or be someone that I want to be more like, you know?
Yeah, you need new friends. So anyway, Angie has a little brother, Seth, who is here, and prepare ye. Oh, Tucker. Y'all, Joey's cat is here. And Seth is here. And you all prepare yourselves for the end of this episode because he will tear your heart out and he will whip and nay-nay. Do the kids whip and nay-nay anymore? I don't know what they do.
No, they don't. They don't.
What do they do?
TikToks.
Okay, great.
We get along pretty good. It's normal brother-sister thing. We'll argue a lot, but
she's always loved her brother. They're like peas in a pod.
Which brother did you fight with the most? Was it Chris?
Chris. Yeah. My second to oldest brother. It's hard when your brother sleeps with all of your friends.
Right. Okay. Babe, this is not Swamp Talk. Save it for Swamp Talk. Okay? We'll save the trauma dump.
Yeah.
And the thing that Angie loved was like happy ending stories, you know, the Prince Charming, and that's what she was dreaming of. And listen, I'm not here to burst anyone's bubble, but chances are if you have a Prince Charming, he's gonna be gay.
Not where I saw that going. You know what?
You're
Let me tell
my
you something,
Prince
though.
Charming. No man ever treats me as good as you do, and you want nothing to do with my nether regions.
It's true. You know, I blame all of the 90s rom-coms because, I mean, if you think about it, like the way it just so unrealistic. What rom-coms were you obsessed with growing up?
Oh, you know what I love? The Sweetest Thing.
Love The Sweetest Thing. Would never happen.
Too big to fit in here.
But imagine
Yeah.
someone you just met and they drove to your wedding. That
Yeah.
is psychotic behavior.
Yeah. Why did we think that was fine? Do you know this takes place in 2011? Did you ever see Friends with Benefits with Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis?
No, because I cannot stand Justin Timberlake.
Sure. But anyway, totally unrealistic. You just watch it for 10 minutes. You're like, this is not happening.
But listen, we were all raised that way,
Yeah.
especially young women, you know? And so like you said, Seth said, my sister Angie she loved a storybook ending. She loved fairy tales, and she was very naive. Now, Seth and Angie were living in subsidized housing with their grandmother, who was dealing with some health issues. So she was receiving financial assistance from the government, and there wasn't any extra money for things like computers or cell phones. There was no luxuries. They were just trying to make ends meet. And grandmother, this is the South. Let's call it Mama. Mama Colleen is here, and basically she was like a mom to these two.
Yeah, and so Seth explains that their dad was never really in the picture, and he doesn't go into details, and he doesn't need to, but their mother was not well. But they were so happy with Colleen, and Meemaw Colleen is an absolute down bitch. She was struggling financially, but she was like, nope, we're family. That's what we do. We step up. And she did. She was already kind of struggling on her own, but there was no way she was going to let her grandkids go into foster care or something. So they were just like a sweet little family, just the three of them.
I love it. Well, on September 16th, 2011,
Colleen has scraped together enough money to buy her a very special present.
She was so excited to turn 16. She had this 16 balloon made and everything. It was pretty much all pink.
she has been hinting for a cell phone. Were you that kid that hinted for what you wanted?
When I was in like the 5th grade, now remember, we were poor, right? Everyone wore Guess jeans. And I would write my mom letters around the house. And I'd be like, hi, Mom, my birthday's coming up. Can you guess what I want? I'll bet you can't guess what I want, because I went to Catholic school. We all wore a uniform, but on free dress, everyone had that little triangle on their bum except for me. And then Guess jeans were sold at Costco, and my mom was finally like able to afford a pair for me.
Oh, that's so sweet, though. I
Yeah.
just got my brother's hand-me-downs, but they did wear jabots. Remember jabots and Z Cavaricis? Okay, but we're getting
Cavarici.
off topic. Grandma Colleen saved up, and she made it happen, which is very sweet. And Seth says, I have never seen someone so excited over a cell phone, but it makes sense. Like, you know, if you grew up and you're of a limited means and there's only so much, like something like that, it's a novelty, it's
Huge.
a treat.
Yeah. Did you hear what her theme was for her 16th birthday?
No.
It was Pretty in Pink.
Was it really?
Yeah. Or maybe it was pink and I added the pretty. Did I ever tell you I told John Cryer when he was on Rabia and Ellen that I had a crush on him?
And what did he say?
He thought it was like very sweet and probably a little weird, but he didn't add that part. But I did tell him that. I was like, everyone loves like the Andrew McCarthy. I liked the Ducky. I was like, I like the weird guy. Okay, now that I say that out loud, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Well, I mean, listen, she was excited. And you know, when you're that age, you just want to fit in. And all the kids had cell phones. So immediately she joins a gaming site called Moco Space, which I've never heard of.
Me either, yeah.
As well as Facebook. And all of her accounts were public. And the thing is that Grandma Colleen, she doesn't know this world. She wasn't in it. You know what I mean? So she never really thought anything about it.
There's also that like pressure to let your kids do it. I have said my biggest regret is like letting Lola have Snapchat because everybody does it and you just kind of are like, oh, what could go wrong? And then you're like, oh, everything could go wrong. Meemaw Colleen, didn't know, but Angie was all over Facebook. She was posting pictures. She was posting her updates. She was keeping in touch with people. And don't forget that little chat feature that's available on Facebook. And Meemaw Colleen, not only did she not really know about Facebook, she wasn't really into like the internet. She's like, well, everyone's on it, so it's fine, right?
Yeah.
I just constantly kept hearing a ring coming from my sister's room.
If Angie's entering chat rooms, they are sometimes populated by adults who prey on children.
So one night, when her phone was ringing in those wee hours of the morning, he answered her phone. And a man identified himself as Charles, and he was 30 years old. So Seth is like, why the fuck are you calling a 16-year-old girl? Well, it turns out that Angie was telling people that she was 21 and a student at the University of Arkansas. And Seth cussed this man out.
Oh, yeah. Brother Seth is also a down bitch. He's like, yeah, she's fucking 16, you creep. He's basically like, tells him off. I think Seth is younger. I'm sure he was like, don't call her or I'll pee on everything you love. I don't know. But he was being overprotective and like, I mean, I don't know what boys say. I kind of love the protective sibling dynamic. It's always very sweet. But like, yes, Angie shouldn't have been doing that, but like, she's 16 and stupid.
Do you know what I did when I was 16? Can I tell you something?
Oh, God, what?
I used to call the local radio station, B97, late at night. And I would be like, hi, my name is Stacy. And I would pretend to be a girl and request songs. I have no idea why I did it. And one of those DJs was like, so Stacy, where are you from? How old are you? Like flirting with me on the phone. And I was, of course, it got there and I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I got off the phone. But like, kids are stupid. I was stupid.
Do you remember when you used to talk in a British accent?
No.
Okay.
When did I talk with a British accent?
Didn't you go out in public and talk in a British accent?
No, when I was a child, my mother stopped taking me out of the house for a year because I pretended that I didn't speak English, I spoke French, and I was blind. And I would get lost on purpose.
We share way too much on this podcast. That much I know. So Brother Seth was rightfully furious. Like, he knows kind of like what's going on. And Angie's mad. She's like, you have no right to interfere in my life and, you know, whatever. So Meemaw Colleen comes in and she's like, what are you doing? And Meemaw Colleen doesn't understand what's going on. And so Meemaw Colleen makes Angie promise not to go into chat rooms anymore. Don't talk to 30-year-old men. Come on. And, you know, we'll see if she keeps that promise.
Yeah, I mean, again, Seth points out that Angie was very naive, you know, when it came to stuff like this. This is a small town. You know, she was just excited to have access to the world outside of this small town. And, you know, I don't think she really thought anything bad could come of this.
But Angie is about to find out just how bad things can get if you're not careful online. Angie's friend Lorraine has gotten involved with a middle-aged man from the neighborhood, Earl Delmar Pig.
Which is an appropriate last name.
Pig. His name is literally Pig.
Literally. Now, Mr. Pig here had a history of going after teenage girls, buying them gifts, giving them rides. He targeted girls from lower income families because he knew that they were a little bit more vulnerable and would like the idea of a guy doting on them. That is so insidious.
And they found some reenactment actor that looks like James Gandolfini's less handsome cousin. And he's like giving this, you know, reenactment Lorraine presents and stuff. It's really fucking disgusting.
So one day, Angie watched her friend Lorraine get in a car with this man, Mr. Pig. And it really freaked her out because this guy was clearly an old creep.
Yeah.
So she's beginning to understand how right her brother is and her grandmother about creeps on the internet. So she's thinking, okay, I should really just, you know what I'll do? I'll stick to chatting with guys my own age.
And that she does. So the very next day, she's on Facebook and she gets requested by a more age-appropriate fella named John, and he is 17. Very cute, doesn't go to her high school, but goes to a high school nearby, and they start messaging back, and then they start texting, and then he becomes her online boyfriend. Ugh. What are you? No. So she told bestie Cheyenne about John and, you know, does all the little girl tee-hee. And one day they're on their way to church and she sends him a picture. And she tells Cheyenne, she's like, oh, he's my Prince Charming. And then Cheyenne says that Angie wants to be with him for the rest of her life.
Listen, Remember the ideals of teenage life? We all thought we were going to grow up, be rich, live in a mansion, and marry Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Okay? We all thought we were going to do that. Shut up, Ellen. We all thought we were going to do that. I mean, yeah.
How old were you when you were allowed to date?
Oh, I was allowed to date. I just never went on any. Are you kidding me? If I would have been like, I'm taking a girl on a date, they would have been like,
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Our son is not gay. He likes titties, big ones, and the boobies, and the penis, or the ball sack. He is just so straight.
I just get so confused when people date so young. Like, I mean, to be clear, I don't mean like dating younger. I don't mean being a cougar. Incidentally, do you know how they call women who date younger men a cougar?
yes,
Do you know what they call men who date younger women?
no.
Men. That's the nickname. So,
Listen, after my last go round, I'm not dating nobody under 30. I can tell you that right now.
I get it. We all do it. It's just like looking back when you look at like 16-year-olds, you're like, why are you dating? Go to school. Go climb a tree.
You know, when you're 16, it's like,
Yeah.
that's what you do. It's
Yeah.
it's all about trying to fit in. So, like you said, she did tell Cheyenne about him, and 2 weeks later, Angie is still messaging with John, and she hasn't met him.
Tonight, Angie is babysitting for some kids in the neighborhood. Once the parents leave, she goes right back to texting with John. John makes a new request for a special kind of selfie.
A sexy selfie was his words. Now, she felt weird about it, but eventually she decided to do it. He promises not to share it, so she sends one. But John is like, not satisfied with that. He's like, it's not sexy enough. I know you can do better. And if you loved me, you would send me one.
It's really upsetting. Something that I did not know up until recently. Did you know in many states it's illegal for two minors to sext each other in that manner?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's actually considered child sex abuse material, even if both parties are minors. For example, in New Jersey, they passed this sexting law in like 2012. It's under the guise of endangering the welfare of a child. Like, if you're two consenting adults, I don't care what you do, get out your pork swords and your Grand Tetons, I don't care. But when you're kids, it's illegal. I know it's state by state, but there are a lot of states where it doesn't even matter if they're both kids.
Wow.
I did not know that up until recently, and you all should check your local, state legislature on that. But and I'm all for it. Absolutely. I am so glad we did not grow up in that time because she felt pressured. Like, she did not want to do it. Like, the text was like, if you loved me, you would do it. It is just so upsetting and so manipulating. And no matter how many conversations you have with your kids, like, in that moment, we've all succumbed to pressure of some kind. But needless to say, she really did not feel comfortable.
No. I mean, listen, even as adults, when we send nude photos of ourselves to other consenting adults, there is a risk. There is a risk that somebody out there could share your pictures. Pro tip, don't put your face in your nudes.
Never put your face in the nudes. And immediately after sending that topless picture, much like my wedding day, Angie immediately regretted her decision.
Yeah, she did it once she got home from babysitting. She's in her room and her grandmother knocks on her door and says, hey, I have your laundry. Is it okay if I come in? And she's like, do not come in here. I'm studying. And Mama Colleen, she's just so sweet because she's like, well, if she's studying, I'm not going to interrupt her. And she ends up sending more nudes.
On Thursday, February 9th, 2012, Angie was just as happy as she could be. Her eyes were sparkling because she was just that happy.
Now, a few days later, Angie is thinking, okay, I should get out of my head about this. I can trust him. He's my boyfriend. It's fine. And now John is suggesting that they meet and they are discussing where they should do this.
And so Angie tells Mima Colleen that she's going out for a walk, but she'll be back by curfew at 10 p.m. And she and John agreed to meet in a hospital parking lot. I just wrote in my notes, I hate this.
I know. It's so scary. So like you said, she does meet in this hospital parking lot, but then we cut to Angie coming back home and she is very upset.
Yeah, she's jittery and she kind of like lashes out at her little brother Seth for no reason. And her brother is here and he's like, it just felt like that vibe, like she was trying to start a fight. And Mama Colleen hears about it. She's like, she hears them fighting, hears them squabbling. Poor reenactment Colleen is like, just be nice to each other.
Yeah.
And Seth storms out. He's like, I'm going to go to my friend's house. And Angie says she's going for a walk. And Mima Colleen goes to bed that night.
So the next morning, Grandma Colleen wakes up. It's February 11th. She goes to wake Angie up like she does every morning, but Angie isn't there. And in fact, it was clear that her bed had not been slept in. So she tries calling Angie. No answer. Then she calls Seth and says, wherever you are, get home right now. This is a family emergency. And he comes home and he's like, Mama Colleen, calm down. She's probably slept at a friend's house.
So they're a little worried, but like this definitely isn't something she would do. And they get just nervous enough to call the police and explain the story. Y'all, just, I don't know, lay down. They give her the, she's probably a runaway. And the police just brush them off.
Saw that coming from a mile away.
I mean, with audacity rates currently as high as they are, I absolutely did not need this right now. They just say she's a runaway and they give her the shrug emoji.
She is a minor. Isn't it your job to, even if you're like, I think this might be a runaway, isn't it your job? Can't you throw some resources at it? I understand that it's expensive or whatever, but
write it down. Just write it down.
Yeah.
Make a paper trail. The thing is that, like, I know you don't get anywhere when you have an attitude. When
Right.
I know if I have like a problem with something, I'm going to like address it calmly. But when it comes to something like that, I just feel like I would fly off the handle. I'd be like, these hands are rated E for everyone. Let's go. And I would get arrested. But like, that is just infuriating. Fucking write it down. Make a paper trail. I will never understand it.
neither will I. Again, this is a minor.
If she's a runaway, cool. Write it down.
Since runaway cases don't immediately trigger police action, Colleen and Seth have no choice but to wait for Angie to turn up of her own volition.
So a few hours later, Angie's friend Lorraine pops by. Remember, Lorraine was the girl who was sort of seeing that older man, Mr. Pig, in the neighborhood. So she comes by and she says, hey, I just want you to know that I got a text message from Angie, and she says she is with someone named Jason. And the text says, I'm in a black Camaro headed to Little Rock, and Grandma Colleen is like, that sounds like a whole heap of horse shit.
Nothing good has ever happened in a Camaro. No good man has ever driven a Camaro. That is the car of men with big egos and mean spirits. And no, I do not know where my dad is.
I was going to say, does this put its finger on your trauma, my love?
Oh, a Camaro? Grow up. If you're listening and you have a Camaro, I do not care. That's a nasty car. Yes, my dad drove a Camaro.
Grandma Colleen is like, yeah, no, this is bullshit, and I'm going to go back to the police. And once again, the police say, yeah, this sounds like a runaway. How many more times do I have to say, this is a minor, and this is your job? You don't have to call Scotland Yard. Just throw some resources at it.
Okay, I looked this up. I looked up the population of Van Buren, Arkansas in 2012. The population is 22,838. I also looked up the crime rates in Van Buren, Arkansas in 2011. And from my research, I found out there were 0 murders, 7 rapes, 6 robberies, 57 assaults, 198 burglaries, 22 auto thefts, 1 case of arson, and 446 cases of theft. What are you doing?
Wow.
What are you so busy doing?
Wow.
You're not in Manhattan. You're not in Chicago. You're not in, like, Las Vegas. You're in Van Buren, Arkansas. Take the fucking... What? Sorry, ma'am. We're just way too busy with those car thefts. Write it down.
Write it down.
Also,
again, isn't it illegal? I mean, this might be being naive because I don't have offspring, but isn't it illegal for a kid to like just take off on their own when they're underage? Like, they can't do that.
like, it's illegal to run away. It's illegal to kick your child out of the house.
Right. I mean, obviously I'm thinking about truancy with school and stuff, but I don't know. I just feel like something it just is very frustrating.
Right.
And I don't
you're saying if it was an adult can go missing on purpose,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. Yes, and it's a child. I don't understand. I should have called the Van Buren Police Department. That's what I should have done. I am off my game.
I promise you one thing, they are not going to take your call. They'll be like,
Hyper on 2. Hold on, please.
So yes, again, the police are like, sorry, it's a runaway. So now Seth and Angie's best friend Cheyenne are like, well, I guess it's up to us. We may as well canvass the neighborhood, hand out flyers, all of that.
Seth and Cheyenne pass by Earl Delmar Pig's house, unaware he has a record.
That time he was out on bond for one count. I believe it was rape. I believe she was 15, 16.
How does someone get out on bond?
Why are you out on bond?
For sexually assaulting a child.
Why are you not on that island that I wanted to build where you put all the sex offenders, put them on the island with no boats? Also, it's really upsetting. I don't mind calling him a pig, but I do keep thinking of Peppa Pig because they're like, hello, mommy pig. Hello, daddy pig.
Yeah,
and it's like so adorable. And this man is so disgusting. So every time we say pig, I think of Peppa Pig, which incidentally, Lola talked like Peppa Pig for approximately 2 years.
So they give Earl a flyer and they ask him just to keep an eye out, if they see her, and he's like, of course I will. Put a pin in that. Because now 3 days have passed since Angie's disappearance.
Poor, sweet Angie is still missing. And the cops are finally like, all right, well, maybe she didn't run away. Cool, you butterfaced turd biscuits. Wait 3 fucking days, why don't you? Like, anybody who has ever watched a single Dateline episode knows that the first 48 hours are the most important. They made a whole entire series called 48 Hours, but please, lollygag for 3 days and let it pass. Well, 3 days turns to 5 days.
Yep.
No leads in their little minuscule, little pathetic investigation. They don't know what happened. There's no leads. There is no sign of Angie, what happened, or where she has gone.
So now the local police have to get the FBI involved on February 15th, 2012. And when that happened, brother Seth and grandma Colleen are thinking, okay, the FBI is involved. They'll find her. Mm-hmm. And that's when investigator Patty Stroud got involved, and she focused on Angie's cell phone records, which should have been the first thing the local police did.
Please use her proper name.
What's her proper name?
Down bitch, Patty Stroud.
Sorry. Okay, I thought I was in trouble. I'm so sorry.
Are you new to the planet? Patty Stroud gets shit done. She's like, you all have been fucking around for 5 days. Did you check her phone records? No, you didn't. Great, you twat nuggets. That's like the easiest thing to do. What have you been doing? Investigating that one arson we had this year?
Yeah. Well, here's the problem. There's a ton of messages to go through.
At this point, everybody was on my radar. She was very active on the internet. We found where she'd been in contact with several out-of-state phone numbers as well as local.
And she digs deeper into these conversations, especially one from a particular number that really stood out to her. And something that should be noted here is that all of the messages when she got the records, they were out of sequence.
Yeah.
They were not, which is so weird to me.
I guess the technology in 2011, you know what else I was thinking? I was thinking that since they said that she was of lower income, there are those sort of plans that you can buy that aren't like T-Mobile, Verizon, you know what I mean?
Right.
Those pay-as-you-go plans.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I fear that might have been what happened, because what took up a lot of down bitch Patty Stroud's time was cross-referencing the times and the dates and putting them in order so that she could establish a timeline for this family.
Yeah. Well, remember that one specific phone number that stood out to Patty? Well, it stood out to her because it belonged to a registered sex offender who they only refer to as Wilkinson. And immediately they are searching for him.
Yeah, because he's now a potential suspect because he's a registered sex offender talking to a little girl. We absolutely know that they were talking. So the last time her phone was used was Saturday, February 11th. And that's the day she would have said to her friend Lorraine she was heading to Little Rock with this guy, Jason. So down bitch Patty Stroud instructs the other idiots who are just Keystone copping all around to go to the place that Angie's phone last pinged. And now that was on Highway 22 near Lavaca, Arkansas.
And it's the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Sadly, when they got there, they didn't find her phone or Angie. And that sex offender Wilkinson guy, he had a solid alibi for the night Angie disappeared. Still a piece of shit.
Yeah.
but he wasn't involved in this case. So one day, Grandma Colleen gets a knock on the door, and when she answers it, it's that creep, Earl Pig, who comes by to offer his help in the search for Angie. Well, Grandma Colleen took one look at this man, and she's like, something ain't right with this dude. I don't know who he is. He looks like he smells like formaldehyde and cream corn. I'm not into it. And
He
so
looks like he smells like craft singles and cigars.
he looks like he smells like pickle juice and manure.
He looks like he smells like boric acid and beef jerky.
He looks like he had an expired Hungry Man microwave meal and toenails for dinner. For the crunch.
It's so crunchy. Oh.
Yeah, this man is disgusting. Well, Grandma Colleen was like, nope. So she called the police and told them what happened. And they were like, did you say Earl Pig? We are very familiar with that name. And it landed him right on the investigation's radar because perpetrators often insert themselves in investigations.
Oh, yeah. Like sometimes they'll watch a scene go down or sometimes even participate in the search. It's all very sick. But basically, down bitch Mama Colleen was so amazing because she's just like, why are you doing this? Why are you we've never talked before. I don't know you. You've never come over with a pie. Why are you inserting yourself now? I give her so many props for that.
Now, Investigator Stroud finally identifies whom Angie last texted on the night she vanished. It's not her online boyfriend, John, or Jason, the guy with the Camaro.
It's 36-year-old Lloyd Colin Jones, and police are on it, especially when they find out that he works on a farm in Lavaca, Arkansas, the town where Angie's phone last pinged.
So they get a hold of this 36-year-old motherfucker, and he agrees to come in and sit down for a chat. They want to know how he knows Angie, how long he's known Angie, every little detail they can get out of him. And he admits that he knows her, and he says point blank, I am a level 3 sex offender. I like young girls, but I'm not going to fuck around with girls that aren't under 18 because I know if I do, that's going to land me straight in jail. So I like to meet young girls online, but I always cross-reference and I always make sure they're 18. Doesn't he seem very boastful about this? Like very proud? I was like, bro, you don't have like bowling trophies or something.
Yeah, I think his...
I just want to say, I got quite a few bowling trophies.
Hi, Sharon. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has. I've actually collected another trophy since last time we spoke, now that you asked, Blue Eyes.
I didn't ask, but what was it for?
Bowling.
Oh, got you. Sorry.
This one over here.
I was only half listening.
All the looks and no brains, just like they say. It's really true what they say on those Apple reviews, aren't it, Blue Eyes? I got about 45 screen names, all taking you down because you're a nincompoop.
I don't know what to say other than congratulations on your new bowling trophy. What's your bowling team's name?
Frats Not Dats?
I thought that was your dart team name.
Yeah, that is. It's true. My bowling team is called the Gutter Rats.
Wow. That's...
I got so stuck. I was like, wait, have I already named the bowling team? I can't remember.
Wow, that's really good, Sharon. I like it.
I got supple wrists, Blue Eyes. Something I'm sure you really got really supple wrists too for something else other than bowling, am I right?
I'm so glad you came here, Sharon.
Yeah.
I don't care what Ellen says about you. You are nice.
Yeah, well, she's got a good rack on that one.
What?
Anyway, gotta go. She had not been here in a minute. I think she caught a bus, honestly, because she doesn't have a car. You know that bitch doesn't have a car.
No. Can I tell you something? Yeah. I think his tactic was they're going to find out about my record anyway. So if I'm very frank with them and very honest, then they'll think that I'm a forthcoming guy. They'll think that I've got nothing to hide and I'm being honest about, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's just trying to play like I've done bad things, but I'm an honest guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, good call.
And so he says that he met Angie online 2 weeks before her disappearance on a website called MBuzzy. Never heard of it.
Me either.
No, I've never heard of that at all.
Investigator Stroud is trying to plow through Angie's cell phone records before Jones walks out the door.
I had probably 200 or 300 pages of text that I'm trying to go through.
She needs to figure this out before Lloyd leaves, because once he's gone, who knows if they'll be able to find him again. He may take off. So then we go back to the interview.
Now, they don't have much evidence, right? Which is why Down Bitch Patty Stroud is doing this. But they have this gut feeling. And now, while that is nothing that you can bring to court, it is certainly something to kind of like know. Like they knew he was lying, to your point. Like he was just being just really pompous about it all. And he says, well, yeah, we met on Friday between 6 and 6:30. We met in a hospital parking lot. I showed up in my truck. She popped into my truck. We had a chat. And kind of right off the bat, she says she's 16. I was like, get the fuck out. I am not messing around. I'm not doing any of this. I could go to jail. I am a level 3 sex. He was like, no way. The minute I found out she was 16, I cut it all off.
Yeah. So Lloyd says I was really fucking pissed, and she did get out of the truck. And that when she got out of the truck, a black Camaro pulled up. Angie got out of his truck and into that Camaro, and he says that that's the last time he saw her. And of course, investigators are like, you are probably the dumbest motherfucker we have ever met in our lives.
Yeah.
That story is so you're telling me she was set up to meet with you, hang out with you, and then she called someone else to meet at the same time? It doesn't make any sense. So Lloyd at this point of the interview is like, hey, I want to take a smoke break. And investigators are like, yeah, go take your smoke break, because now they can go to Patty and see what she has found.
Yeah.
So they chat with her. She reveals some interesting information, and that allows them to go back into the interview armed with evidence that they can confront Lloyd with.
And they did have some stuff because they found some discrepancies in this story. Now, remember the pig guy, not cute Daddy Pig from Peppa Pig. He isn't off the table. And since this whole investigation has transpired, a second victim comes forward in his current rape case against him. And he now has 11 counts of sexual assault against him. So he's not completely out, but they are going with the theory that Lloyd Jones is the one who abducted Angie. But at this point, it's kind of still a hunch. But listen to what Down Bitch Patty Stroud does.
When I got to put them in chronological order and view the text messages, it really appeared to me that he knew that she was young. He knew that she was not 18.
So now Detective Perry goes on to say this.
Kid thought she was meeting a guy named John. We determined that she had been talking to Lloyd Jones. He's 36 years old, telling her he's 17.
So Lloyd knew her age. He is lying. Now, remember how they had met once before, and the next day, Angie was very upset. So when she got to the hospital parking lot, she sees John. She realizes this is not John. It's an older guy, and she refused to get in his truck. And she ran home. That hospital parking lot was in her neighborhood. Mm-hmm. She runs home super upset because she realized she'd been tricked. So why did she go back a second time the next evening? The reason is very upsetting.
So just for context, remember that day she came home and sort of picked a fight with brother Seth? That would have been right after, like, she thinks she's going to meet her future husband, her online boyfriend, and she meets creepy Big Forehead over there.
It turns out that Lloyd blackmailed her using those nude selfies that she sent him. He said he would send those pictures to everyone at her school. Now, you have to remember, this is a small town. It doesn't matter if it's a big city or a small city. A 16-year-old girl with all of her naivete, her insecurities, it's so awkward being a teenager. The idea of someone sharing very vulnerable pictures of you where everyone can see your everything to your peers, you couldn't face anyone. You couldn't go back to school. It's a horrible thing to do. She didn't want to meet him, but she felt like she had to. So when she gets to the hospital parking lot a second time, he sees her and texts her, "Hey, baby."
Ugh. I actually made that noise when they said it on
disgusting.
The episode.
It's disgusting. Well, then she approaches the truck and he tells her to get in because you don't want me to send those nudes to your friends, right? So she gets in his truck, and whatever happened after that, Lloyd doesn't say. He ends the interview by saying, "I want a lawyer."
So they have the timeline, but they don't really have any information beyond that. So another investigator with the FBI by the name of Tim Adkins goes to see Lloyd Jones's girlfriend, Amanda. And of course, she's standing by her man, and she was like, no, he's working on a piece of property. He's building a shack. He even came home all muddy. He was working all evening. Now, she's not a down bitch. She's a dumb bitch.
Yep.
Because they're like, thanks for that information. He came home all muddy, you say? Now, this is where they get this just wave of fear and dread that they could be looking for a body that Lloyd Jones potentially might have buried.
Investigators arrive at a bleak, half-built shack in the middle of the Arkansas woods.
A lady that had a dog arrived at the site.
Not in the episode. They had been building that shack on Lloyd's brother's property. And they brought a cadaver dog, a large search team, and that dog at first was focused on something inside the shack. Then they brought the dog to the back of the shack, and it indicated something was there. And it was an area that clearly had been dug up recently and piled over. So they start removing the debris, they start digging, and they unearth a blue plastic barrel. Inside that barrel, they find a body.
And it was Angie. And she was strangled.
It's horrible.
And I'm not going to get into details, but he had to maneuver her body in such a way in order to get her body into this barrel. We'll just leave it at that.
It's awful.
Yeah. Lloyd was charged with the homicide of Angie, and they break the news to down bitch Mima Colleen and brother Seth, and they're, of course, a wreck. Poor Colleen says they're just holding each other. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the episode. This boy can't even get these words out.
Like, it was just like, Devin. Didn't want to believe that it happened to her. Like, I always felt like I just lost like my best friend.
Seth broke my heart. I mean, and the thing is like, she was a kid. She was a naive kid. I see so much of myself in her. I was a naive kid. I was not raised.
All were.
Yeah, I was not raised to maneuver through the real world. I've said this before. When I was 19, my first interaction with a guy sexually was someone I met on America Online. And I went and met him in a car on the corner of my street, and we drove behind a warehouse to hook up. That man could have harmed me.
Yeah.
And I was stupid. I didn't know, And
it's only gotten scarier since we were kids. We've all done stupid things. Remember I told you that story when my friend and I went to Versailles?
Yeah.
And those guys, I mean, like, if Lola were to tell me that story, I would lose my mind. But we all do stupid things. And like with the web, it's even scarier because it's millions. It's not just like one guy walking down the street. It's a billion guys who are preying on kids. Preying. Like, that is their mission.
This guy knew what he was doing. He was banking on her naivete.
And the thing is, I don't want to, for the parents out there, or if you're listening and you're a young person, I go back and forth, right? Because I don't want to teach Lola or teach kids or even like our listeners to live in fear, right? You don't want to live in fear, but sometimes we just have to. And you don't want to assume that everyone has the worst intentions, but you have to. Like, how do we find that balance?
Yeah. I think it's very important to have very frank conversations with kids if they're going to have a cell phone, And listen, in this case, Colleen did. There's only so much you can do. It's just really, this Lloyd guy is a disgusting piece of shit. It was senseless. And he robbed the world of a daughter, a granddaughter, a sister, a friend. And so this man was caught. Lloyd pled guilty to first-degree murder, and he was given 60 years in prison, which I was like, how did he not get life?
Yeah.
First-degree murder?
Yeah, that's wild. And down bitch Patty Stroud is like, he's a coward. And yeah, it's like anybody who hurts a child, like, it's just, I'm just so sick of it. He's a disgusting coward. I hope that he was hurt and beaten every day in prison, which he probably was, because that's what they do. That's the lowest of the low. When murderers think you're lower than them because you hurt a child, that's when you know you're fucked up. I hope he never had a fucking moment's peace.
Agreed. And, I will say, Mima Colleen, she is just a beautiful human being because what she did was took her pain and used it as fuel for advocacy. She began petitioning for harsher punishments for sex offenders in Arkansas through a new law that she proposed called Angela's Law. And, I would never blame any family member of a victim or friend of a victim if they were just like, I can't handle this. I just want to go away and cope. But the fact that she has the strength to fight for other kids so that they can be protected, I just think it's so beautiful.
It was more than just harsher punishment. Here, I'll let Mima Colleen tell you.
Lloyd Collins Jones was a level 3 sex offender. He got out on good behavior. Our laws have to change to fit today's society, and they're not.
That's the part.
Yeah.
Why was he out?
Yeah.
Good behavior in prison? I don't give a fuck what you do in prison.
Yeah.
You had despicable behavior out of prison. Good behavior?
Well, the statistics behind sexual predators, especially child predators, they almost always get out and go right back to doing what they were doing.
And escalate their crimes.
Yeah.
A lot. So yeah, why was he let out? What, you made your bed every day? I don't give a fuck. No, serve every ounce, every hour, every minute of your time. If you are a sex offender, that's it. Why is that a conversation?
No idea.
Because he cleaned his plate at lunch?
Yeah.
I can't. Mama Colleen is speaking to my heart because I can't fathom a world because it didn't need to happen. It didn't need to happen if he was punished properly.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
There are people in jail for dealing marijuana for 20 years. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, not on the episode. In 2016, Lloyd Jones actually escaped from prison after slipping away from his work crew that was 2 miles outside of the prison, and he was caught and returned. But earlier this year, Lloyd Jones died in prison of natural causes. Yeah, say it.
I'm pretty sure natural causes was a shank to the ribs.
I agree.
And they don't want to say that because they don't want to talk about internal prison crime.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he naturally died at the hands of someone who was naturally taking care of how he should be dead and that little girl should be alive. Natural causes at that age? Okay. I think there was a fucking pillow to the face. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But who am I to say? All I know is he doesn't get to breathe another breath on this earth, and I hope you have fun down there and with Rush Limbaugh in hell. You all can fucking play poker or something, you pieces of shit. We said this at the beginning of the episode. Joey and I both said because listen, we cover these episodes in order. I don't like covering kids, and Joey and I both said at the exact same time. We said this, but this is important.
Yeah.
Because it is.
It is.
Because so many things went wrong from them, brushing her off as a runaway to two sexual offenders being out at the same time, pig number 2. And it's just, it's important. This was a hard episode. I always take it personally when it's teenage girls. My daughter is 15 years old, online. What we did, we said at the exact same time, we said, but it's important. And it is. And please just remember to have conversations with your kids, even if you've had them before, and ourselves. Joey and I talk about it all the time. If I go out on a date, Joey is always checking up on me. Where are you? Did you get home? I'm a grown-ass woman. We have to look out for each other. It's fucking scary out there. It is scary being a woman. I know men get hurt too, but the statistics don't lie. It is fucking scary being a woman.
It's true. And I will say what's great about modern technology is that there are lots of ways that you can safeguard your kids through technology, apps on phones, there's programs, there's lots of things that you can do to help protect your kids from people like Lloyd.
And shit still happens.
Yeah, it's true.
Say something funny.
Well, in the spirit of Sharon Vagabonds, I want you to know that I have also gotten into sports. It's a curling team, and it's all gay men. And do you want to know the name of our team?
I guess you're going to tell me.
Yeah, our curling team is called Girl, You Better Curl!
Oh, thank you, Down Bitches. Thank you for letting us bring a little bit of levity to these stories and cases that we just have to tell because we've got to talk about it. Web of Lies, you can find it on Discovery Plus. It is a great show. Please follow us on social media. I Think Not Pod on Instagram and TikTok. What else, Joey?
If you want to see the video recordings of this tomfoolery, you can go over to YouTube and find us at I Think Not Pod. Also, if you're feeling fancy, go over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and say something nice. If you've got nothing nice to say, go over to Ellen and Robbie to Solve the Case. Say something there.
Join our Facebook group. Please interact with our social media. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget, if you're looking for more content, you can find it on the Patreon, patreon.com/IThinkNot. But until then, take care of yourself. Be safe. And I love you, Joey.
I love you too, Yellow Martian. I love you, DB.
I love you, Down Bitches.
Bye. I'm gonna play Call of Duty.